Hi, I'm Julia Russell. I am from Columbus, Ohio originally. I went to Ohio University for medical school, and I'm not sure exactly what I want to go into after chief year, but I'm interested in primary care and hospital medicine.
My name's Roscoe. I moved around everywhere. I don't really call any one place home except apparently here now. I went to LMU DCOM for medical school, and after chief year, I'm going to try to match cardiology.
Hi, I'm Paige Daly. I'm from right down the street in Talmadge, Ohio. I call Northeast Ohio my home. I went to Northeast Ohio Medical University for med school, and after chief year I'm going to do a sports medicine fellowship and then hopefully do some sort of sports medicine and general pediatrics or hospitalist combination.
For me, it was just like going through med school and like doing the adult rotations. I kind of felt like I was beating my head against a wall. And then I got to pediatrics, and like the people that I came into the office and left actually seemed to get better rather than just coming back with the same thing over and over again. And that's when I knew I had to choose a specialty focused on kids.
Yeah, I would say also kids are so resilient. Like they can be so sick and in the ICU and they are like happy and playing and asking for food, and you're just like, oh, you just want to give them juice and like play with them. And so I think like I always favored working with pediatrics. I really like teenagers and young kids, but I think that really helped in med school with those experiences of being like, okay, these kids are sick, but they are like fun and it's a positive environment even when they're not feeling so good.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think that I knew I wanted to work with kids before I even knew that I wanted to be a doctor. So I think part of that, my mom is a NICU nurse, so I think I've always had that early exposure into pediatrics. And then, yeah, I agree with what Avi said. Like when I came to my rotations in medical school with pediatrics, everyone was always so happy and positive, and everyone really seemed like they liked their jobs, and I wanted that job too.
I think I kind of always knew I wanted to be chief because I love this program. Like I just have such passion for Akron Children's Hospital, and so I wanted to be able to like bring in the next class and to bring in like the next group of people and create that same like positive environment that I saw and that I experienced throughout residency.
Yeah. I always joke that Paige was born on 7200 because she loves Akron Children so much. I first found out what a chief resident was when I was interviewing for residency, and a lot of the interviews that I did were with current chief residents, and so I was like, wow, this is a really cool job. You get to really like be a member at the table, having a say in who comes into the program, and you're part of the discussions about leadership and just different changes that come to the residency program. So that's kind of how I first was introduced to it, and like Paige, I kind of knew from early on in residency I wanted to be a chief resident. Things that I'm looking forward to are like leadership opportunities and also mentorship. I love working with the residents and love working with medical students to teach them and be their mentor, so I'm excited for that.
For me, I knew I was going to be here for another year, so I was trying to kind of figure out what I wanted to do, and I really wanted to find out more about the med ed side of just being a physician and try to get into that. So I just knew going to the chief was the next best thing to do. So I guess we had a weird year when we were applying because it was COVID and it was the first virtual interviews and nobody knew what they were doing. And I think just going into these virtual interviews, for me personally, I was looking at how the residents interacted with each other, because I wouldn't be able to see the place, I wouldn't be able to meet the faculty of the program or see the area, and for me it was just how do the residents interact with each other. And that's what ultimately led me here to Akron, is I really like that. So my advice would be when you're doing the lunches with residents, when you're doing the social hours, look at how the residents are interacting with each other.
Yeah, I think like we already talked about, like I tell all the incoming students, like you already chose pediatrics, like you're gonna have a good experience for the next 3 years, but you have to find your home. And for us, like we have a standalone hospital, which was super important to me, and we have a fellowship that I was interested in, which was important to me. But at the end of the day, like Avi said, you want to find somewhere where you're going to be happy for 3 years, because no matter what, you're there for 3 years, and you're going to learn medicine, and you're going to work with you're going to work with kids every day, so it's going to be positive. But you want to find like your ultimate experience and where you feel comfortable with your co-residents, where people are going to cover your shifts if you need it, or people are going to support you through some of the hardest times you're going to go through. So really finding where you fit with your personality and what you're looking for, I think, is the most important.
Yeah, I totally echo everything that they said. I think size of the program was something that I looked at a lot when I was a medical student applying for residency. I wanted kind of that just right fit or feel, the Goldilocks moment. And so not a program that's too small, not one where it'd be too big and I would feel lost in a big sea of residents. And I think that that's something that we strike a really great balance of here. And all the interpersonal relations, like they said, are also super important to me as well.
I think that when you come to the hospital, which is so hard to describe when you're, like Avi said, when you're virtual, but when you come here, you realize how you are like a big fish in a big pond. So the hospital itself has high patient volumes. We have almost every specialty. We rarely ever transfer out any patient, but you know everyone from the cafeteria workers to the people that are like dusting the windows to the nurses and the PICU to the, like you know everyone, and especially by the end of your 3 years, like every time you walk in the hallway you see someone. Like there's no shift where I walk in and out and I haven't passed someone that I know into the hospital. So I think that makes Akron truly special because you still get so much great medicine. You see the zebras and you see like the gen peds that you need to learn, but you feel like you're in a small, tight-knit community because you get to know everyone in the hospital.
So for me, again, not being able to come here beforehand, I was in Texas before this, but my best friend from medical school was from the area, and he was like, you have to check out Akron. And I had family up in Cleveland, and they're like, look at Akron Children's. And the vibe that I was getting from the community and the people outside of Akron Children's, because I couldn't really talk to anyone in Akron Children's outside of the interview, was that this was a really well-respected hospital and area in the community. And I have to say, since I moved here, I've kind of gotten that same feeling as well from neighbors or just random people who find out that I work at Akron Children's. They're like, oh yeah, I took my kid, or I took my granddaughter, grandson, or so-and-so who's still here, delivered my daughter 30 years ago, and I still remember that place. So it's really makes a big impact in the community as well.
I think something that's interesting about Akron Children's is the patient population that comes to this hospital. I feel like we really do have a wide variety of patients who come here. The hospital itself is located in an urban area, so we have patients from urban backgrounds. But Ohio in general, Northeast Ohio is it's a farming agriculture part of the state as well, so lots of more rural patients. We have a Nepali refugee population who lives just north of the hospital. A lot of their people from their community come here for care. And then there's a large Amish population in this part of the state as well. So we take care of lots of families from those communities as well. And it brings in, like Paige was saying, a big variety of different patient pathologies, from simple common things to things that are very rare and you might only see once in your career.
I feel like Akron Children's has like a web. Like we go all the way up to the top of Ohio. Like we were very spread out. We really cover like the whole middle part of Ohio, which is cool.
I think the best part about residency is that we get to do it together, like with my new friends that I've made here. And this isn't even necessarily my favorite part about residency itself, but it's come from being a resident, is just celebrating these life moments with each other as residents. Some of us are new parents in the class, some of us have gotten engaged and gotten married. So it's just really special to meet these new friends and kind of grow through life together in addition to growing as pediatricians.
I mean, emotional. Graduation's next week. It's all coming to an end. I would agree though. I mean, there's just been so many like life moments. Like I had a baby earlier last year, and like just the support that I got from my co-residents was just incredible. And you know, we have multiple other co-residents who have had babies or gotten married, and just being able to see everyone. And then I think the coolest part was the match, like getting to see where everyone was going next year. You're just like so proud of everyone, and like we get to experience it next year, but like we get to be proud of our co-residents. So that was super cool too.
Yeah, I'd have to say the same thing. The residency program as a whole, kind of all my co-residents, just really great going through residency with them.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about our co-residents a lot, right? Which like they're incredible people, and I'm so lucky to have spent the 3 years with our class. I think the other classes too were a pleasant surprise, because you never know like how the match works and everything. And I think we've been sandwiched and, you know, have had people come in, and I've loved working with our, like, you know, our current interns, our second years, even people that graduated above us. So I feel like that was a surprise too, but also the rest of the people that we work with. Like I've gotten so close with some of like the nurses. One of the like dietitians is one of my best friends. Like you know, you feel weird being on your last week of the floors, and you're like, wow, I'm never gonna see this 7,200 nurse again. You know, like you just get very close. And so I don't think I ever thought about that going into residency, how much it mattered. The people that you work with every single day, the resident assistants that we have, and the nursing staff, and the social workers, and those are all people that we're gonna miss when we have to leave, and people that I didn't realize like how much I would get to know through these 3 years.
For me, it was just the wide range of pathology that we see here. Between the Amish population, the refugee population, we just see so much weird stuff. Yeah. And I was expecting kind of like with like being south of Cleveland, Pittsburgh, nationwide within a couple hours, I was kind of going into this expecting just your kind of run-of-the-mill pediatric stuff. But then getting here and seeing all that we see at the levels and numbers that we see as well was really shocking to me.
Mm-hmm. I think two things stand out to me as being the most surprising. I think the number one thing was just how large the campus is. I guess I trained in medical school at a smaller site, and so coming here I was really blown away by just how big the hospital is. And then the second thing that really surprised me was, we talk about relationships a lot, but just the relationships that I saw the residents having with the attendings that they were working with. That's something that I've really enjoyed, is having those close relationships with our attendings, and how I feel like some of them really make an effort to get to know you as a person and not just a resident who's there to see their patients. And so they're really passionate about teaching us, and that was surprising to me in a very good way.
Yeah, I think that was a perfect transition by Julia. We're talking about our relationship with our mentors and the attendings. I think like having a solid relationship where you feel like you can rely on attendings is so important for your career. Not only do they teach you medicine, but they teach you what research you need to get involved in, and how to write a CV, and what to write in your personal statements, and all of the little things that you need to do to apply for fellowship or want to become a chief. And so I think those relationships have been very important. And I think it's important to note too that it's not just relationships with attendings that are in your specialty. Like I have a very good relationship with my sports med advisor, but I also have really good relationships with hospitalists and with endocrinologists and people that are here to help you in your everyday life, and then also in your career goals, not just from a teaching standpoint, although they do a really good job of that too.
Yeah, I'd kind of echo that as well. Just wanting to go into competitive specialty, getting a lot of different angles and viewpoints, and coming to people with various research ideas and that sort of thing has been really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that this program offers a lot of room for career exploration. As someone who doesn't exactly know what they want to go into yet, I think that I've had a lot of great opportunities to try out different electives in different fields, go to some of the regional sites and see what it's like to work in a community hospitalist setting, and figure out what I like and what I don't like. And that's been really helpful for me personally to kind of figure out where I want to take my career next. So participating in global health was something that I was really wanting to do in residency, especially because I had done some traveling previously in medical school and had global health experience, but then the COVID pandemic came, so kind of put a pause on things. So I was really excited to get back into it. We have a number of global health opportunities at Akron Children's, and some of the relationships are still forming and strengthening, so there might even be more to come. But personally, when I was a second year, I went to the Dominican Republic and spent a whole month there as part of a global health rotation. I worked at a primary care clinic down there, got to practice using my Spanish language abilities, got to see patients in like a primary care setting, but also in a small ER. And it was really rewarding and something that I hope that lots of residents get to experience in the coming years.
So I am doing sports medicine, and there's been like one person per class kind of that has wanted to do sports medicine. So I was lucky in that my intern year, there was a second year and a third year who were all interested in doing it, and we all kind of got together and we were like, let's just do a research project together. Residency's busy enough. We all have like a very, common goal, right, to get into fellowship and to do some sort of research. And so we all kind of sat down and we picked our topic, and then we did a lot of chart review over the next year or two, and we approached a lot of the different attendees in sports medicine like, hey, this is our idea, do you guys have any suggestions, and do you know anyone that would want to be our advisor? And we easily found someone who wanted to do it, which was super helpful. And we have an incredible stats program here too, so once we got all of our chart review done, they were able to give us like the numbers and the data points, and they made that part very easy, which was the part that we were most nervous about. And then recently we actually presented our research at the national AMSSM conference, which was super cool. So, and our advisor came with us and got to see us kind of present our posters, and it was a really cool and a lot easier experience than I realized, because in residency you get really busy and you start these research projects as interns when you are in the hospital all the time, and so making it an easier process and being able to divide up the work a little bit was really helpful, and I think it benefited all of us in the end.
I kind of just approached one of the faculty and I was like, do you have a project for me? And he said, all right, here you go. And then I saw some interesting cases. I was like, hey, can we write this up? They're like, sure, let's do it. And then I actually got handed one as well because I rotated in a random specialty, and he's like, hey, you want to go into cards? I'm this specialty, so I have some cross specialty stuff, let's do it. Here, you're on these papers as well. So, I ended up just going to people asking, and quite a bit came out of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have cool cases too, which is like part of how like our large catchment area and like the different path that we see. Like a lot of attendings and people have cases that they're like, if you want to write it up, like go for it. And they're there to support you and help you through it, which is really nice for fellowship and presentations at conferences.
It's a good question. I think a lot of people who are not from Ohio are like, where's Akron? They maybe know about LeBron James, and that's about it. But what I'd like to say is like Akron has everything in it that any suburban place would have, that you would find in any suburban or metropolitan area. It's not a large city like some of the major cities, other places in Ohio or otherwise in the United States, but we have everything here and a lot of like hidden gems too, which I think has been the most interesting part of being here, is kind of discovering them.
Yeah, I think being from Northeast Ohio, I still discover hidden gems, and I tell people like Akron is a choose your own adventure place, right? Like if you want to live in an urban area, you can live down the street in an apartment and walk to work and never use your car. And if you want to live in a rural area, that's 15 or 20-minute drive. So while Akron is a city in of itself, within 15 to 20 minutes, you can choose whatever you want. If you want to live in like a cute town where they have like pop-up breweries and wineries and go hiking all the time, you can do that. So it like really is a choose your, like just draw a little circle around Akron and choose what you want to do. It's very cool, all the gems that are around here.
Yeah, and for me, like I like to do some of the outdoor stuff, hiking. I remember the first Labor Day I was here intern year, I went kayaking, and then we came to work.
Yep.
But just the ability to do that. We have the national park here, gone to lavender fields, sunflower fields.
Remember intern year where you would go to a different restaurant every night?
Pretty much. Not quite every night.
It was like your goal. It was like once a week to go try a new restaurant.
Figure out where we're going. And then just having that ability to try different places, some of the outdoor stuff as well. It's really nice.
Something else I like about Akron is that it's really easy to get around this area and like the surrounding areas. Traffic is never really a big issue, and it's really easy to get to a lot of the bigger cities. Like Cleveland is less than an hour away, Columbus, Pittsburgh, they're all 2 hours by car. So I like to make day trips or weekend trips to go to those places and visit some friends or just check out some new scenery.
Yeah, close to airports too.
Yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
of course.
100%.
Easy peasy, of course.
Yeah, I don't think I want to be a resident again, but I would come here again.
That's fair. But if I had to do residency again,
It would be here.
It'd be Akron Children's, 100%. I think that if you're watching this, you're applying for pediatrics at Akron Children's or pediatrics in general. And so I think that the biggest thing to remember is that you have to find your fit. And we hope that your fit is with us because we like us and we like our residents and our program. But ultimately, you have to do what you want to do. If you come here, you're going to see a lot of patients and you're going to learn a lot, but you're also going to have a good time and you're going to make lifelong friends and you're going to have great experiences. And so it'll all work out, the match will work out, but we hope that it works out like it did for us.